Hey, this is Bert. And with Hasbro's announcement that they're going to be making a vintage collection Book of Boba Fett style throne room, I got pretty excited and I thought I'd do a little breakdown of all the stuff that's included. And not only that, but I thought I'd examine how accurate it is to not just the throne room as seen in Book of Boba Fett and The Mandalorian, but how accurate it is to Jabba's throne room as seen in Return of the Jedi. So we better get moving because it's coming out this September, right? What? 2023? That's okay. It'll give us a lot of time to think about it. All right, so let's dive in.
No skill customs.
All right, before we jump into extreme detail about what's what and where it belongs in Jabba's throne room and in the Boba Fett throne room, I just want to answer the question I posed on my thumbnail, and that is, will this throne room work for Jabba's throne room from Return of the Jedi? If you don't want to do Boba Fett or Bib Fortuna's throne room, you want to do Jabba's, will this work? And the short answer is yes, but I'll get into detail what extra things you might want to get and what kind of things they give you that you don't really need. First, I'm going to break down everything it comes with. Here we see the playset in its entirety, including the exclusive vintage collection Bib Fortuna, who most people will just keep in the package. With this being based directly on the Mandalorian Season 2 finale post-credit scene, it is of course pretty accurate. So when I compare the new toy to the Return of the Jedi throne room, I'm really actually mostly talking about what changes were made when they rebuilt the set for shooting the Mandalorian and the Book of Boba Fett shows. Alright, we're going to start with all the little stuff that comes with the playset. There are actually 42 little tiny items that they've included with this, if you count all the things that are duplicated. There's 2 little glasses that I counted as just number 20 there, and there's a couple other stemmed goblets. I counted 3 of them as the same thing, but it might be 2 that are exactly the same and 1 slightly different. But you get the basic idea. Lots of little trays and tables and bowls and plates and pitchers and all sorts of stuff like that. So we're going to break it down, see which of these things are really directly correlated to the shots in the film or in the TV show rather, and which ones are a little bit made up. All right, now we're going to start as if you're looking at the left side of the throne, and we're going to move over towards the right. On the left, there's a bunch of little vases and stuff stacked on the steps, and they didn't really make any of those really. They don't really get started on stuff until a little ways into the throne itself. We're going to start with numbers 1 and 5 that you can see here. And if you look at their promotional imagery, they actually reverse these, put them in the wrong order, left to right. And if you look on the top of the tray, you can see the goblet things, number 38, are included. As we inch our way closer to the throne, we can see another few items. There is a rectangular thing, and that is very similar to the one we just saw, only this one only has 2 levels instead of 3. I've numbered that number 6 on my little chart. There's a vase next to it that's number 10, but I'm wondering if maybe they based number 16 on this instead of 10, because it seems to be significantly shorter than the rectangular shelf, at least from what I can tell in the murky darkness of the photos from the TV show there. There's also, towards the background a little bit, there's a little bottle vase sort of thing. That's number 13 in my little list. And then we have a tray with, it kind of looks like a lid on it maybe, sort of. And that's number 15. Not super accurate to what I see in the video footage of the TV show, but looks pretty decent. There's also a huge number of things that I've outlined here in green that they didn't make in any form that would have been fun and maybe something you can make between that, since we have over a year before this thing gets to us. You could make them yourselves. Consider there's that thing in the top middle. Maybe that could be considered one of the wine bottles that they give us, but really ultimately the wine bottles, those are just holdovers from the Navarro playset. They look to be like the exact same thing. Maybe when they finally come out they'll be colored a little bit differently, but essentially that's what they are. As we move further over to the right, I do think that they actually had better reference photos for the right-hand side of this throne space than the left, because these look to be a little bit more closely accurate. So there's 2 of the wine glasses on the grill thing. There's also this little vase looking thing, number 9, on there. On both of those are stacked on top of a square little tray, which is number 18. Then a little further in the back, you can see some vase-like objects, number 32 and 33, and in between them we have another of the wine glasses. I do wonder if this is like has a slightly longer stem, but I labeled all 3 of the wine glasses number 37. And then just below to the side of the grill, you can see a covered bowl, number 36. Also on the dais next to that bowl is another covered bowl. That's number 11, very accurate one there. There's a sort of bottle thing, and that's number 8. And then there's a wide plate. That's number 25. Now there's a couple items like kind of located in that vicinity that I've highlighted in green that I can't really distinguish what they are. They might be some of the other numbers that I don't cover here. And then also, if you look at the footage from not the Mandalorian finale, but the Book of Boba Fett, you can see that there's an protocol droid head, which Hasbro is also including in this set. I have the head labeled as number 28. There's another little bowl thing, number 29. A more like a mug sort of thing, that's number 26. And I don't know, like a tall cup, that's number 38, and then another tall cup, more like a champagne glass, it's number 37. And I'm using photos of the toy here because they're kind of hard to see in photos from the TV show. Now, speaking of things that we couldn't see very well in Bib Fortuna's throne room that are very visible in Boba Fett's throne room, there is also, in addition to the droid head and everything else, there's also this little basket of fruits that's I labeled number 17. They didn't make the stand for it, though. In fact, there's a lot of stuff that I've highlighted here in green in the Book of Boba Fett that they didn't make. So when you think about this, the playset and what they included, to me, it's really mostly the end of season 2 of The Mandalorian. It's Bib Fortuna's throne room that we're really getting a toy of here. Even pausing the show, there's these 3 stands in the back on the right hand side I could never find a clear view of. I'm just going to trust the toy designers that they're there. The last thing before we talk about Jabba the Hutt's throne room, we have to address the throne. I feel like they did a pretty amazing job. I really like how weathered it looks. Maybe it's a little bit on the gold side, but you know, it's really hard to tell because you never get really good lighting in Bib Fortuna or Boba Fett's or Jabba the Hutt's palace, throne room for that matter. So maybe it's dead on with the coloring, and if you just put some blue lighting on it, it'll look perfect. Alright, now I'm going to talk about Jabba's palace in Return of the Jedi and how closely the toy works for Jabba's palace. We're going to start with off to the left of Jabba's throne. There's this very similar table and rectangular-ish thing that you see in the Bib Fortuna and Boba Fett palace. And I would just use the same thing. Items 1 and 5. Number 1, its top is a little too big to be Jabba's, but it's close enough. Jabba's palace does go through a lot of changes because we're seeing it over the course of maybe a day, maybe 2 days, as C-3PO shows up, then Boosh shows up, then Boosh sneaks around at night, and then again when Luke shows up later. So things move around a little bit. But as we move further to the right and closer to the throne itself, you see these 2 items. Another one of those kind of box-like things. And I do think that when they designed the Bib Fortuna and Boba Fett thing, they were pretty much directly looking at that. It's not exactly the same as what's seen in Jabba's palace, but it works pretty well. Also, you see this bowl here. Again, not exactly the same. The gourds are a little bit too small, and the legs are a little too long, but it's pretty passable. But as far as the small stuff goes, not really much else kind of applies to what you see in Jabba's palace. And part of it is because I think it's a little more sparsely decorated. There's not as much stuff there. But there are a couple things that you see pretty prominently. There's this open bowl. Sometimes it's got gourds in it. Sometimes it has a vase in it, kind of a weird thing. And then there's a lot of stuff when you get this view towards the back end of the place. Number 1, there's this tusk thing. And they do give you the tusk thing with the toy. But here it's kind of like wrapped inside of a can. There's this other kind of curly-Q thing on the floor over there. That doesn't really show up in either of the other, in the toy playset or in either of the other palaces. And there's this silver thing, which I do feel like I saw in the Bib Fortuna palace. Also, you don't get that either, though. So even though many of the other accessories that come with the set don't really apply to Jabba's palace exactly. They'd still look good in the background of the throne space, or you could use them throughout the palace. They've got all sorts of plates and cups and goblets and tables and stuff like that. So I really think that even though they're not exact, I think they'd come in really handy for kind of filling up the space of a palace scene if you're going to do more than just the throne space. So the next thing you're not going to need if you're going to make this into a Jabba's palace rather than a Boba Fett or Bib Fortuna palace is the throne itself. I plan on making, like a little mini diorama with Boba Fett on the throne, and of course having this diorama be my Jabba's palace and decking it out with all the different figures. But underneath the throne is a dais, and the last time we've seen the dais was the 2010 Jabba's throne set from Walmart. Now, this set was really great in its time. The Jabba the Hutt's great in it. You get a really nice Ula figure. But I always had a problem with the dais because the Abyssinian heads that they have on the front and sides are just too small, and it really, I don't know, really took away the look of it to me. It really doesn't look quite as legit as this throne that we're getting with this set. And so that's one thing I'm really pleased to see in this set, is a really well done throne. I'm not entirely sure if they remembered to have it so that it doesn't, the main body of the throne doesn't rest on the floor. There's a little gap. And they photoshopped all their images so much I can't tell if there is a gap between, the body of the throne and the ground. But we'll have to see, when it comes in, or maybe they'll release some more pictures as it gets closer. One thing that you're not going to get in this set that you need though for his dais is that weird kind of thing that wraps around behind him and has his his food bowl and his like hookah smoking mechanism and all that stuff. So before you throw out your Shadows of the Empire Jabba's throne set, you might want to pull that off of it, or you could go and get the Saga Collection Jabba the Hutt, and that one came with just that piece. It didn't come with the whole dais, but it has that piece. But each of these things, each of these sets is really expensive. Now I told my bro Nipper that I'd try to find him one, and he's pretty sure that they're going to make one later on. Because you know what else you need? You need a Jabba the Hutt as well. So my guess is that they'll do a set maybe not unlike the Saga Collection one from 2004 or whenever that was, that'll feature Jabba the Hutt and then his whole like base thing, and then the bowl and the frog inside and all that stuff. Hopefully they'll do that again for us, and you don't have to hunt all that stuff down. Now, if you want the best Jabba the Hutt, if you're not sure they're going to make that, the Saga Collection one is not so bad. He's kind of fun. He sticks out his tongue. I like the Legacy or Shadows of the Empire, whatever one you want to call it, the Walmart Jabba's Throne one. He's got like squishy feel belly to him, but mine got sticky real fast, and I feel like his proportions aren't quite exact. The best one out there, in my opinion, is the one that you could find with the sail barge. Don't go out and buy a sail barge just for Jabba the Hutt, but it's also found in the Toys R Us Rancor Jabba's Throne and Rancor Pit set, and that's the one I use in my displays. But one thing that the Shadows of the Empire Jabba's Throne set had, they went all in with the pillows. So if you want some pillows, you might want to get that set. Although it looks like this set has pillows, they're just kind of treated differently. Rather than doing individual small pillows, they're like big, almost like blankety sized pillows, which I thought might work just fine. I mean, really the pillows, I don't know, kind of feel a little bit optional once you have Jabba on there and everything else. The other thing that set had is this kind of crinkled up brown fabric. But they are doing that. They're having animal skins in the new set. I mean, it's not real, okay? But anyways, I'm just a little afraid that it's not going to drape right. What was kind of nice about the fake fabric was that it's already kind of folded over a corner nicely for you. So yeah, we'll see how the animal furs fare, whether they actually fold down nicely over the edge of the throne. The other thing is they're too light. even if you're going to use them for Bib Fortuna's palace or Boba Fett's palace, they kind of interpreted the lighting a little bit wrong, and they went really light with these when they really should almost be just like a mottled brown color, rather than these are white with like a little bit of gray spray paintish looking details on them. So I think they were a little bit off on the color on that, but I think they'll work nicely. I thought maybe if I just kind of bathed them in a wash of acrylic craft paint, that's my plan anyways. And I thought maybe once I do that, I could also tape them down over a corner of an object and have them kind of dry and harden that way too. I thought that would work pretty nicely. But that's a year and a half down the line, so we'll get there when we get there. All right, now let's take a look at this archway and the backdrop. Now, with the archway, I like it. It looks good. I think they interpreted really what's just painted on details as being like three-dimensional details. I don't know if they're trying to give us extra value to the set or what, but they're too deep. If there is any dimensionality to these little markings across the archway, they are definitely not that deep. So I thought that was a little bit of a misstep. Not the worst thing in the world, but it is going to bug me probably pretty much forever. Then when you look in the back of the throne, I really feel like the stairs on each side, I feel like those are good size, and it's hard to say with only seeing it with one figure. I think they're going to be a good size for setting up characters standing up on those steps. I think the space behind the throne, the dais, is great. So I got a feeling like they made it pretty well. Now, one really subtle thing that they did that I was impressed by was little piles of sand here and there. Now, I hope that there's not so much of it that you can't stand figures up straight, but I was always actually a little bit disappointed with the sail barge, that there wasn't more just sand in all the crevices and stuff. It just ended up looking too clean. To me, it looks like they did a really nice job with this set, and I can't wait to see it in person. We got the barbecue pit. That's pretty cool. It comes with what I assume is a hunk of gerba meat based on my Inside the Worlds of Star Wars book. And it also comes with a Kowakian monkey lizard, which I'm guessing probably shows up being roasted in the Book of Boba Fett, but I never really saw one on the barbecue thing in the show, or I don't remember seeing it, I guess. In addition to that, you got this other like kind of rod in the background. Now in Jabba's palace, there was like white dangly things for part of some scenes, and there was some red dangly things. Since they didn't make those, so you have to come up with some way to make those little things if you wanted to. And then to the left and right of this back archway, because it's really two archways, to the left and right there's these vents that glow bright red in Jabba's palace, and I'm not so sure how they handled these. I'm wondering if maybe they have a clear red piece and you can like come up with your own lighting situation behind them. It kind of looks like they were kind of being aware of people's interest in lighting stuff. So hopefully that's what they chose to do. But they made the vent, like the outside parts of the vent, just way too dark. They treated it like it was this pewter metal color. And even in the Book of Boba Fett and the Mandalorian, when you see those vents, they're not the exact same shape as they were in Jabba's palace, but they're pretty darn close. And their coloring really should just match the walls. They shouldn't be this pewter color at all. And then if you look at the right hand side, there's a smaller vent thing. I don't know what it's supposed to be. It looks like like a pipe or something. It's a much different shape in Jabba's throne room from Return of the Jedi, but it still works okay. But again, it's almost like white in both Jabba's palace and Bib Fortuna's, and they made it that dark pewter again. So there was a kind of a strange choice in coloring. But other than that, I mean, I'm really excited. I gotta, maybe I'll modify some of those extra little cups and bowls and stuff so that they match a little better, or maybe I'll just use them throughout other play sets. I think they're a cool little fun thing. I mean, I just can't believe they made 42 individual little things. Of course, that includes the pillows and the Kowakian monkey lizard and stuff, but that's a lot of cool stuff to play around with and rearrange and play with. So I do think it's a cool feature. So I'm really excited about the set. But like I said, you got to get a job with Hutt somewhere. You got 3 really pretty decent options. Maybe you could even go, I mean, I could even see someone going all vintage with this. It would look pretty awesome too. If you want to go back and get the vintage, 1983 Jabba, that would look pretty great. But I mean, otherwise, you have the Saga 2004 Jabba. He's pretty decent. You got the 2010 Jabba, really great Jabba there. And then you have the Black Series, not the Black Series 6-inch scale. They called it Black Series anyways. The Toys R Us Rancor Pit and Jabba's Throne Jabba also. So he's pretty great too. So you got a handful of them to choose from, and you just got to come up with some way to get that little base thing for his little pipe and food bowl. So once you got that, I think you're pretty well set. You can choose to keep the pillows off your Shadows of the Empire throne room if you wanted to. That's up to you. I was thinking maybe I'd just sculpt some of my own since they're just little pillows, but we'll see what I come up with. But yeah, I'm excited for this set. Obviously, you know me. I'm a cheapskate. The price tag kills me, but I also think about the amount of time it would take me to make all this stuff, or even just 3D print it, and the cost to buy all these models or model them myself on some sort of 3D printing program. And I feel like it's worth it. When you look at it like that, I need Jabba's Palace. I just wish that they would have included Jabba and that little that weird gray thing or gold or brass thing in this set, so you could choose whether you wanted it to be Bib Fortuna's throne or Jabba's throne. And also, not only that, but you'd have some confidence that once you buy this $229 plus tax plus shipping item, that they're not just going to go and say, guess what? Coming out 2024 is going to be Jabba's throne room. Because I got to tell you, I don't want to buy this twice. I'm looking forward to having it in my hands. But if they go and release a Jabba the Hutt one like the next year after that, I'm going to lose my mind. Okay, so I wish they just included Jabba and the other thing. Sure, make it $25 more, whatever, make it even $250. But it would have been nice just to reassure us, hey, we're not going to go and resell you the same thing in another year with a different character. But yeah, so I hope this was helpful for you. You got a long time off to make space on your shelves and plan for this. I, for one, hope to incorporate this into a full Jabba's Palace diorama. Try to work it into the other piece that we got with the Han Solo and Carbonite, and take lots of pictures and maybe do some other video down the line. So if you like this video, like and subscribe. I'm always making more, and you never know what's going to be. See you then.